Here are my disclosures. It was a warm spring day, circa 2009. I was in Washington, D.C., and the cherry blossoms were in bloom. As I emerged from the throes of the dark and cold boardroom, where I had just survived an intense interrogation from a scientific advisory board, it took my eyes a little bit to adjust to the bright sun. It was a good day, the best day. In fact, the pinnacle of my research career at the time. The scientific advisory board just approved a large 5-year research study that I would be leading. I was on cloud 9. As I descended into the metro, my phone rang. It was my wife, and I assumed she was calling to hear how the presentation went. But when I answered the phone, I knew immediately that she wasn't calling about the presentation. In a matter of seconds, I fell from cloud 9 in the best day of my life to one of the darkest and worst. My wife was calling to let me know that my 5-year-old daughter, Leah, had type 1 diabetes. The years that followed my daughter's diagnosis were tough on my family. They were filled with sleepless nights, so many alarms, and way too many finger pricks and juice boxes. Over time, we learned a few things, technology improved, we started sleeping through the night again, and I'm happy to report that Leah is a happy and healthy 16-year-old. With the advancements in diabetes technology, we have both the benefit and overload of a lot of data. What I'm about to show you is approximately 425,000 CGM data points over a 4-year time period. Our reality and challenge is that real-world diabetes device data is messy and noisy. We must work together to provide context and clarity, to find meaning in the deluge of diabetes-related data. This graph shows a yearly rolling average of the percent time in range. Each data point represents a year's worth of CGM data. As you can see, Leah's time in range has significantly increased over the past 6 years. But the point of showing this graph is not to brag or to endorse some of the do-it-yourself movements. Rather, I want to show and share how this graph evolved and suggest that this paradigm could be the way forward. This graph is the direct result of me, a data scientist, working with some amazing endocrinologists. This graph is now the first thing we look at my daughter's quarterly endocrinologist visit. We first take a look at the big picture trends to see we're heading in the right direction before diving into the recent 2-week details. I'm curious, how many of you routinely look at this type of trend to know whether your patients are heading in the right direction? What type of insights and graphs are useful to you? If you have ideas, please do not hesitate to reach out. At Gluco, we believe the future of diabetes care is putting endocrinologists, or more generally, healthcare professionals and care teams, in the innovation loop. Let's work together to pull out the relevant signals and insights that are useful to you and your patients. Working together is more important than ever given our current chronic disease management crisis and the shortage of endocrinologists. As technology continues to advance, we have even more data at our fingertips that we need to make sense of. In case you're not familiar with Gluco, we currently serve approximately 2.8 million people across 7,500 clinics, 26 countries, and 15 languages. At our core, we are here to support your in-clinic, telehealth, and remote patient monitoring programs. We support 95% of all diabetes devices, including glucose, insulin pumps and pens, food, and exercise devices. In the last few years, we also started supporting research through our clinical research and real-world data platforms. Here are a few things that we've recently added to our platform: EHR integration, remote patient monitoring, digital therapeutics, and individual and population insights. Some of the insights include the ability to identify cohorts that meet specific criteria, as shown in the graph to the right. With this tool, you can devise strategies and customize treatment plans for specific patient cohorts. In addition, we've added the ability to track whether your interventions have been effective, as shown by the graph on the bottom. Here you can compare pre- and post-intervention outcomes to assess whether your recent changes were successful. I would like to end this talk by sharing a little bit about our vision at Gluco. As we continue to bring more data and different types of data into our platform, Our approach is to keep you, the endocrinologist, in the innovation loop. The way I see it, there are two paths forward. The innovation can start from the data, or the innovation can start with you. For example, our machine learning models may suggest one or more signals, metrics, or features are important. However, that insight will only be useful if it is useful to you and the populations you serve. If it is not useful, then the extra data will actually be distracting, confusing, and frustrating. On the other hand, you and your experience can help us identify specific diabetes events. I'm sure most of you can pick out a missed meal bolus, rescue carbs, or an infusion site failure. With your help, we can build a labeled diabetes event database from which machine learning methods can be used to predict those events in the future. If you want to learn more about Gluco and what we've been up to, here's a list of some of our recent publications. I would like to call out and thank some of my colleagues that helped prepare this talk. Tanya Rodante, Komathi Stem, and Doctors Mark Clements, Tong Sheng, and Serene Babikian. Our vision at Gluco includes you. As we continue to bring more and different types of data into our platform, we need to collaborate and work together to bring meaning to the deluge of diabetes-related data. Please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you.